many of these bots does Jin have? See that windmill? That's where we're headed.
I thought we were going to a barn.
We are. They're right next to each other.
Is this your family's estate, Marcus?
No. It belonged to my late wife's family.
Mom loved it here. I'm just glad she didn't have to see any of this.
That makes two of us. Come on, we're almost there.
I forgot how big this place was.
Yeah, well, it's getting smaller by the moment.
Hey, you hear that?
Having fun, James?
Sure, why? Aren't you?
Oh, it's always good to see you.
These two always like this?
I love I love that interaction because we've all seen our friends' families or had to introduce a friend who's like not necessarily used to how our family operates or how our friend's family operates, but to us it's like, oh, that's pretty normal. I've definitely, my mom was never the big yeller. My mom was always very stern, a little bit more stoic with her poems. When she did yell, like, it definitely was, it was, you know, you're really done fucked up. Like, I can remember pretty vividly any time my mother yelled at me. And then here we have them where it's like, you know, he's making a comment on the fact that, like, maybe all of this could have been avoided if he would have just listened to him early on and not necessarily ran away and joined the COG. But you know, at the same time, he's like, every time you come around, like, I'm constantly digging you out of trouble, and I don't know, it feels like a very normal human response there. A level of disappointment, like we always want what's good by our kids, and we want our kids to be successful, but at the same time, almost like dealing with an addict, you want to make sure that you also need to realize, like, hey, my kid's in over their head, and, you know, this is constantly a mistake that they're making, so they need to learn from that mistake or that lesson there. Oh shit, the fire burns. Should have paid attention more to that. There we go. Now, one of the things is, they're constantly like, you know, waste the kestrel, do whatever you need to take it out, and they kind of have this repeating dialogue here. I do like it that it has, like, a spot on it that says, it feels like a, it has weak points. So while it is still a bullet sponge, it's a fun boss, and the fact that it moves and the points are a little bit harder to hit on the sides does make it a little bit interesting and more unique to fight. I guess you could actually say it's a mini boss, because these games, like, shooters like this, sci-fi shooters where they give you super large creatures or super large things to fight, actually feel really good and feel like they matter within the confines of most sci-fi games. Now at this point I'm like, we could fast forward a little bit here and maybe not quite make it take as much damage, but at the same time, like, from a gameplay point, it does seem a little frustrating, but from a narrative point, I want their drones to feel like they do an excessive amount of damage, and like they'll take a beating, and I'm going to need to fight and put a lot of bullets into it in order to make any sort of headway here.
gotta keep pushing to that barn.
What's in the barn, Dad?
A couple of mules.
Oh, this ought to be good. Oh, guys, we got another wind flare. Already?
And what I like about this part here is you definitely see that your character, you are the main character of this, but Marcus, you know, he seems very intelligent. It's like, there's another wind flare, and they're like, already there's another one coming up. Almost like they travel like clockwork, like wind flares don't just blow up. That maybe they're more like the red storm on Jupiter, where it's just constantly there and constantly rotating.
Jen's got us surrounded.
And then here's
Now what?
here's
Let's
another
divide
very,
their fire.
very
James, which side do you want?
We'll take right.
classic portion
down,
of
you take
a
left.
Gears game here
We're
is
on
where
it.
we get this, where we have like this, okay, hey, we're gonna need to split up, so we're gonna have squads or two-man teams that we're gonna have to deal with this situation here. Alright, there we go, we're gonna take that one down. Now, typically what I would do is I would have, like, the typical Gears loadout is the Nasher shotgun, which I love it, is a lever action shotgun, and then your assault rifle.
Ah, shit. Gate's locked. See if there's a way to open it from your side.
But like I said, I really enjoy this. I enjoy having I really enjoy having the versatility of the assault rifle for almost all combat, and then, you know, having the long range of the DMR that can do just a little bit more damage, a little bit more precise damage.
Incoming.
Damn it! Gate won't open. Anything
We can
you
take
guys
that
can do
down.
from your side?
And this does also show us just how strong these wind flares are, as it is ripping apart the landscape about us. And then we see the storm wall over there. Even the you know, the windmill looks like it's taking a bit of a beating. Pop in that new clip, and we're gonna. God, this thing feels like taking a massive amount of damage at this range. Oh, there it is. That took it out. And thank God it's far enough away to where I don't think we'll really be able to do any real damage. That's my last shot there, so I'm gonna avoid that one. I'm just gonna keep pushing on here. That way I can make sure that I have enough time to make it to that barn.
We got a guardian.
And it also makes you wonder how cheap it is for these things to really be made, because they're throwing a ton of them at you. Now, realistically, we're only winning because we are Gears of War people. We're COG, and the humans have to win. But it's a it's definitely a
We gotta get to that barn.
it definitely also makes you wonder, like, okay, these things are so much cheaper. I would rather throw, you know, $1 billion worth of drones at this than waste like 5 people, because we need all the people that we can get. And also lends you to believe, like, people have been taken, so Jin's actually concerned about her people. Now this part's a little bit harder, because what we actually have to do is get around the storm wall here, which is just these lightning patches that keep attacking you. And I'm going to use the word attacking you, because you're going to see that there's not always a lot that you can do to get around them, because there are points later in the game where it just feels like they are hunting you down, that they will just keep moving to get to you.
Go, get inside.
obviously. Things are on fire, and your home, well, it's destroyed. None of this gives me pleasure. But if you don't come out immediately, I can't be held responsible for what happens next. To you, or
There's no kill like overkill, and I like the fact that they see you as such a threat that they're like, nope, I'm gonna just drop, 2 machine gun or 2 rocket pods, 2 Vulcan like Gatling guns on you, and I'm just gonna have these people all line up to fire through a wooden door there.